some live questions over here. You're on.
Do you have any advice for somebody who's leaving yeshiva and going to the workforce to plan for his, for financial freedom and how to find the right path?
So people often ask me how I got to where I am. And I always answer, not by planning to get there. I think one of the mistakes that people make is that they think they're going to know at 20 or 25 or 30 what they're going to be doing for the rest of their life. They seek out jobs, opportunities that they can see themselves doing long term, and something that's going to make them a lot of money. In the words of Reb Nachman of Breslov, a person should focus on the next step. It's very nice to have a plan. I had a friend, I remember we sat around the coffee room in Lakewood once, and he said his goal is by the age of 30 to be a millionaire. He left Lakewood much before any of us, and that was his goal, to be a millionaire at the age of 30. 30 came and went, he was not a millionaire. 40 came and went, he was not a millionaire. And 50 has come and gone, and he's not a millionaire. And what was wrong with that? Well, there were two things wrong with that. Number one, you can't plan to be a millionaire. There's nothing you can do that will make you a millionaire. Meaning, the number is not what you're focused on. What you're focused on is, how do I build myself into the kind of person that is worthy of being a millionaire? That's number one. Number two is, this is not a project that you plan up front. What you try to do is, you try to say, what is the most important area of development that is right here before me? What is it that I would need to learn that is crucial, that is priority one for me to be a successful person? And I wouldn't suggest you put any numbers on that. Just know that successful people are built a certain way. They build themselves a certain way. So if we'll use an analogy of a building, how do I start pouring the concrete for the foundation? What does the foundation look like? So that's number one. When you leave yeshiva, that's the way you should think about it. What are the skill sets that I would need to learn to be able to be successful long-term at whatever it is? I could have never envisioned when I left Lakewood that I would be where I am today. And I would imagine, as Hashem, that if I'm on this podcast, whatever you call the Zoom call, 10 or 20 years from now, I probably will say that, remember that thing I did 20 years ago? I couldn't have imagined then where I would be today. So I never made it my goal to become what I am today. My first goal was to try to learn and develop the skill sets and the human capital that will take me from where I was, which was at point A, to where I needed to go at that moment, which was point B. When I got to point B, I looked at point C and said, how do I do that? This is what Reb Nachman says in Likutei Moharan, that a person should look at the next step and develop goals how to get there. If you're leaving yeshiva, you should take an inventory of your most prominent skill sets that the Ribono Shel Olam endowed you with. If you have people skills, you might want to consider sales. If you have analytical skills, you might want to call Mr. Friedman and ask him what a life as an accountant or a financial analyst would look like. If you like to take care of people, you might want to go into a service industry where helping people is important. If you have a head for numbers, you might want to enter finance. What I can tell you is, and this is going to be universal for every single person on this call, no matter who you are or no matter what station you are in life. I realized early on that the most important skill that we can develop is our people skills. And we will spend the rest of our lives working on our people skills, our communication skills, our listening skills, our empathy, how we interact with people. This is the first thing that I taught myself. When we learn in yeshiva, we don't necessarily spend a whole lot of time developing listening skills as an example. It took me many years to realize how leverageable listening, empathizing, reflecting back, things that we just don't do in the hallways of the yeshiva. We yell and scream at each other. We try to outprove each other. We try to outsmart each other. Learning Gemara with the Chavrusa is a chess match. It took me a while to realize that that's not the way the rest of the world works. So working on our people skills is extremely important. Working on our personal skills, our thinking skills, our motivation, our confidence, our time management skills. They go on and on. A person should see where they're the most deficient and where they have the greatest deficiencies. They should utilize those efficiencies and they should work on those areas of development. And look at your first job. You can quote me on this, many have, as a paid internship. Whatever you do in your first job, mark my words, you probably will not be doing it for the rest of your life. You're there to learn. You're there to reveal to yourself your areas of development. Excel at that job, I don't care what it is, and develop skills in that job so that that job, which is point B, can then be a springboard for the job that follows. And after about 4 or 5 jobs, hopefully in your mid to late 30s, or maybe 3 jobs, depending on what you're doing, you will earn the right to do something that you've always dreamed of doing. Next question.
Let's go to the next, another live one.